welcome. And I see some familiar faces. What I would like to do is first comment just briefly about myself and why I'm here, and then get a little feedback from the audience about how many people are already familiar with EFT, etc. I am Tom Masbaum. I grew up in the Chicago area. Years ago, I lived in the Wheaton area. I helped start the bike-a-thon here at the Theosophical Society back, I forget, in the mid-'80s, late '80s, something. I've always enjoyed the concept and the feeling being around the Theosophical Society, the people and everything. I now live in Oak Forest, in the southern suburbs, so this has not been part of my stomping grounds for a number of years. 9 years ago, my one daughter is a child psychologist, and she called, she's up in Evanston, and she called, she knew I'd be coming up to visit my grandson, and she said she downloaded this free 87-page manual on something called EFT. Now, I had been moderating prayer groups and discussion groups since 1961, and she heard me talk about some of these things and emotional things and all, and she said, "Dad, you might like this too." She said, "When I found it, I glanced at it, but I downloaded it, and now my printer won't print anything, but I'd rather not wait to get my printer fixed. Would you mind printing out a copy? I want to take it to the office." You know, great, and I did, and I started reading as I was printing it for her, 87 pages, etc. And I was truly amazed. I said, if this guy's accomplishing even a portion, a small portion of what he's saying he's accomplishing with this tapping stuff, this is wonderful. This is something that we just have to spread, tell people about it. And I printed out a copy for myself, thinking I'd, you know, tell some other people, etc. But I started using it a little bit. Within a week, I went away on a retreat with a religious science group that I know, Lake Geneva, and Saturday and Sunday. And on Friday night, 2 in the morning, like-minded people, the fire's down, the wine's gone, and we're still just enjoying each other's conversation, you know. And one lady had experienced this with me, an experiment earlier in the week, and she asked me to show the group. And I did, and which I'd like to have you experience it also. And probably 10 minutes for just a real quick showing of it. And this one fellow, Mike, a friend of mine, I've known him for years, and I know he was divorced and he had 5 children, you know, 5 boys, matter of fact. But after this couple minutes, 10 minutes, he said, it was like looking through 6 inches of glass. And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he's telling the crowd, telling the other people. Years earlier, 12, 15 years earlier, he was out of town on business, and his then wife, they since have divorced, and I'll tell you why in a minute. His then wife called Matthew, their oldest son, was ill, and she's got him upstairs, and she's going to take him to the doctor tomorrow, etc. And he said, "Do you want me to come home?" And she said, "I am worried." "Well, okay, I can change my flight." And then the last end of the conversation was, "Do you want to talk to Matthew?" And well, he's upstairs. It's wintertime. No, leave him. Back in the 80s or so, no cell phones. No, you know, kids didn't have phones in their bedrooms like they do today. In the morning, he did change his flight. In the morning, before he got in a cab, the phone in the hotel rang again, and here is his wife. She's got Matthew in the car, taking him to the emergency room. He's worse. And it's wintertime, she got the car all heated. "Do you want to talk to Matthew?" "No, he's in the car." "Take him. I'll be there in a couple hours. I'll meet you at the hospital." Matthew died from E. coli before his plane landed. Now, I still feel it when I tell the story. I remember how Mike, and Mike felt so wonderful. He was saying, it's like looking through 6 inches of glass. He says, we got divorced, we argued, he said, and I still cried at times about this. Ringing in his mind, "Do you want to talk to Matthew?" "No." "You want to talk to Matthew?" "No." He could hear himself saying no. Those 2 times, the last chance he had to talk to his oldest son, you know. It was over, though. The grief was over. we have a DVD here. We have it available on our website, and if you bought it on our website, it's $49.95, etc. We got to pay somebody to, ship it to you, etc. But if you just wanted to download the video or the audio on our website, then it's donation basis. PayPal won't take zero, so you got to put something. We also have it here tonight in case somebody would like to pick it up. But anyway, that started me. That truly started me. Since then, I've had over 5,000 individual sessions, and actually that was last summer. I don't know how many. We've got to stop and count someday. Taught hundreds of classes. I love what I do. I presented this to a group about this size and a little bit more larger in London back in '05. I thought I was going to open London, for EFT. And after I get there, I found out that there's an office downtown London, 9 to 5, always staffed by 2 people. If you want to learn EFT or get an EFT, I mean, they're way ahead of us. In Europe, they're way ahead of us. I've also presented at the ARE, the Edgar Casey group, with 85 people for a 6-hour class. We're going to do a class here 10:30 to 4:30 Saturday also. But anyway, so EFT, I started and I just really got consumed with it, and that is my life. I love sharing it. I love having sessions on the phone. Most of my sessions are on the phone. I guarantee success. Or no donations. Anything's a donation. I have a standard, et cetera, but more than half of my clients can't afford, and that's why they're searching. No insurance, they can't afford, et cetera. And so there's no charge. I do suggest an exchange of energy, something. Go on PayPal for $1 or something. But more than half my clients are like I say, with no means to really get that kind of help. So, EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Now that I told you how wonderful it is, some of you people already know it. I heard we have a gentleman here who suggested it, so I think it's wonderful. How many have heard of EFT? And how many are using it? Okay. And this is common. People hear of it, it sounds good, but then you got to get into it. So EFT is a simple tapping on the acupuncture spots. Acupuncture without needles. As simple as that. In Chinese acupuncture, there's 112 meridians in the acupuncture world that if you talk to an acupuncturist, there's 12 or 13 meridians according to which philosophy, which program they're in. But the energy is flowing in our body. And in the EFT world, we're saying it's just like acupuncture. They put in needles to get the energy flowing again. Well, this helps the energy flow again. But it's a little different also. What happens is life goes on and life happens, stuff happens, and we hold on to emotions. Sometimes purposely, because we're enjoying being angry, etc. Sometimes, and the good emotions, wonderfully. We can bring up wonderful thoughts and feel good. But the scientists, and besides the metaphysical people, scientists are proving that how we feel is affecting our bodies. It's affecting our lives, and we're attracting more situations to match what we're used to feeling. Right? So we don't see that in the moment when we're remembering something that's got a sting. We're focusing on that event that had the sting. With EFT, we help you get rid of the sting, get rid of the bite, to the point where for those who did have some of the Meta Monthlies, I write an article since '06 every month in the Meta Monthly, a local magazine. And last month, or month before, one of them, whatever it was, forgiveness. Forgiveness is simple on anything. I'm going to ask you in a moment to think of something that's a little hard to forgive. But if you think about this, forgiveness is simple. Anything, the worst thing you can think of. As long as when you think back about it, there's no bite. There's no sting. That was just life. It's just part of your history. Now, if it's hard to forgive, all that is a sign that there's a sting to some part of that memory. And in the sting for that part of that memory is usually not the event. It's the words, or the tone with the words, or the look in their eyes, look on their face. Some particular part of that memory is what's got you. It's got a hold on you. And once you release that, forgiveness is beautiful. It just slides. It's just wonderful, a good feeling. Louise Hay and a number of authors talk about when you're forgiving somebody, you're releasing yourself, from that prison. Now, it's easy to say, but when you think back, and it's still got a bite, right? So, in the handouts, you don't have to look down. In the handouts, there's 2 charts showing all the points. Most of the time, we don't use them all. I had a session, 2 sessions. A session with a lady in London. She called, can you do for me what you did for my friend? I forgot where her friend lived. And she knew nothing about it, and all I had her doing was tapping on what we call the collarbone point, down below just below the collarbone. It's kidney meridian ends on both sides of the body, right in this corner, under the collarbone and outside of this bone. And a couple months later, a lady in Ireland calls, who knew that lady. Can you do for me what you did for that lady? And so I had another hour with somebody, and all I told them was this one. So the reason I tell you that is to tell you, you don't have to worry about getting it right, remembering all the points, the tapping spots, things like this. It just works. It just works beautifully. Now, to start out, I would like to have you experience a little EFT, and then we're going to back up and talk a little bit more about some points like the idea of being psychologically reversed, etc. But first, if you would, all of you, pick an event that's a little hard for you to forgive. And for some of you, it's just if it would be something this morning, somebody said something, or your pet peeve, or I'm going to ask you not to pick grief as somebody passed at this point. We'll cover that. But just pick something where somebody said something, did something, and a little bit hard to forgive. Now, the law of attraction, the way the world works, and the scientists are proving this also emotionally, et cetera, we're attracting situations to match what we're used to feeling. There's chances that happen a lot, or other events happen where you felt that same emotion. So the secret of success, and the domino effect works and everything on the others, is pick one. Now, in a private session, I guarantee success. And if it's not working, I can challenge the clients, in essence, saying, I know your mind's jumping. If it's simple, it works that wonderfully if you focus. And as I'll guide you. So I wish I could challenge each one of you so that everybody here gets something wonderful out of it today. I love what I do, and I love the feeling I get when you guys get a lot of good stuff out of it. Feeling good, walking out, glad you were here. So now, yes.
Questions, what if part of you wants to hang on to it? You want to be rid of it, but you don't.
Yeah. This will help you release it. Yeah. The wanting to keep it is because they don't deserve my forgiveness, and quite often it's also because your mind's going to all the other stuff before and after. So what you want to be able to do is pick one event and free yourself from the emotion about that one event. So everyone, if you would, a show of hands if you do not have an event to look at. Everyone? Okay, good. Now, so all of you, if you would also pretend you're telling us about it. Not just me, pretend you're telling the whole audience here about that event. Pay attention, how strong is the feeling? Rate it 0 to 10. You want to see, does it get worse? Does it stay the same? Does it get better? So you picked a particular memory, and now you rated it, okay? And now what I want you to do is tap along with me. Don't worry about getting it right. And we show it in a sequence to help remember it, but you don't have to do it in the sequence. You don't have to use them all. So please understand, it's that good, all right? So what I want you to do, though, and I'll explain some of this later on, tap very gently on what's called a karate chop, that soft spot, on either hand, either side, very forgiving. Yeah, but you're tapping very gently. How many have seen the YouTube videos of EFT? A couple people? They're, yeah. It works surrogately. I've had sessions where I've tapped on myself for the client, and it works. So if that's the case, the client doesn't have to tap very hard. Or in this case, you guys, you don't have to tap very hard. So it's a love pat. It's just gentle. So you're tapping here very gently. Now we're going to make a statement that has two parts. One is to help you focus, even though I have this painful memory about, and put a title to it. And then the second half of that will be a positive statement. I totally and deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. So focus on that memory, and now in your own mind, repeat after me. Even though I have this painful memory about whatever it is, stay focused. I totally and deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. Yeah, good. And once again, even though I have this painful memory about, I totally and deeply love, forgive, and accept myself, I'm okay. Now look at that memory, and look at some, you're going to tap on the top of your head very gently, and look at some of the parts of that memory like you see in a video, and hit the pause button on their words, the tone, whatever it gets you, the solar plexus or in the throat somehow, you'll get caught up. Your body will tell you, that's the vision, that's the picture you don't like. Next we can do is start, it's called start of the eyebrows, but it's really the first of 3 places around the eye socket. In the acupuncture world, if you looked on the charts, there's spots all the way around. But what you're going to do is take 2 fingers at the bridge of the nose, so it's just under the start of the eyebrows, so you're on either side of the eye, of the nose, which at that eye socket. Now you could really do it one side or both. I'm suggesting just take 2. Now, once again, review that movie. That memory is a movie in your mind now. And hit the pause button on the tone, the look, the words. Next one, if you're going to do, is on the outside edge of the eye. This is the second one around this eye socket. So it's right on the edge. I'm going to suggest, take your fingers though, so one finger is gently tapping on that corner bone, and the other fingers are back by the temple. Yeah. So you're just using the flat of your fingers or fingertips very gently, butterfly kisses. And now under your eye, take a couple fingertips. It's really right under the middle, but if you just go in 2 or 3 fingertips, you got it. And once again, gently though, butterfly kisses. The secret's in the focusing. Back up in that movie, but now you're going to do something else. Voice to the person in the memory, or the people, if there's more than one, what you were feeling. What I want you to do is use the whole sentence, please. I am feeling, and put one word in there, period. And then I am feeling, repeat it, find another one. If you would stop tapping just for a moment on that subject about your feelings. In some of the discussion groups years ago, one evening we'd say, let's play with how many feelings on a particular memory. And when everybody looked at a particular memory and looked at, well, they felt happy or joyous and enthused, etc. And the negative memories is usually what came up, and it was anger, sadness, the whole litany. My point, people would find 15 or 20 emotions from one memory. Now, with EFT, you don't have to find them all, but there's a couple of those are nagging at you. Now, also pay attention in that if you felt anger, most clients, I don't wait until they also say hurt. I used to wait, and they stay with anger and the frustration and unloved a little bit, or maybe all kinds of other emotions, but they don't come up with hurt, or vice versa. If you come up with hurt, it usually takes a while to acknowledge you also had anger. So that's the type of thing. I'm going to ask you now, we're going to start tapping a couple more spots. You're looking at that party or people in, plural, in that event. I am feeling hurt, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling unloved, I'm feeling unappreciated, I'm feeling so discounted, I'm feeling whatever. Just get in touch with whatever you thought you were feeling at that time. And here, gentle, stay gentle. At this point, quite often, is when you have a tendency to start pounding yourself. Okay, so all of you now, look at that party in that memory. Under your eye, couple fingertips, 2 or 3. Love pats, a little butterfly kisses. But now start voicing. I am feeling. I'm feeling. Now, if your cheek is getting tender, you're touching too hard. You're tapping too hard. Make it a butterfly kiss. Find 3, 4, 5 different feelings, and just keep repeating them. Look at their face. Look at them. And voice the power that you probably didn't have a chance to voice then, or didn't voice the right way. Maybe voice your anger, but you didn't voice the feeling of... Either side. Either side, both sides, very forgiving. Yeah. Now, under your nose, there's a major trigger point for acupuncture right here, but there's also some here. In the EFT world, I never see anyone else saying, I'm saying take 3 fingertips, because you got 3 major points there. Very gentle. Keep repeating, I am feeling. Now, you're looking at me, you're trying to figure out if you're getting it right, so you're not focusing as straight as you really would if we were just like on a one-on-one, but I know it's working already if you're following this and focusing. Okay, next one is under your lip. There's a major trigger point right at the lip. Now, in the EFT world and the handouts, everything you pull off the internet, it's the chin area. So I'm saying flatter your hand so you're at that point in here. And the sighing or taking a breath is a good sign. It's a sign you're releasing. It's a real compliment to the process when I see this. Okay, next one is down below the collarbone. Find the collarbone and you come down about a ½ inch, just under the collarbone. So you're outside of the clavicle and you're under the collarbone. Now in the YouTubes, you'll see them tapping on top, and that works. But the real acupuncture spots at K27 is here and here. So this one, though, I'm going to suggest you use one hand, and I'll explain why. Here, go slow. Go like this. Watch this. Do I look like I'm doing a process? Something comes up in a meeting. You get stopped by a cop. Your kids come home late. Something happens, and you're feeling it at that point. And I'll explain this a little bit more in a few minutes. But you could be doing this in a meeting, talking to people. They don't know you're doing a process, and you want to get rid of that anxiety, fear, frustration, whatever's going on. You want to think clearly. Nobody will know it. And it's slowly, barely tap. So for the next hour and a half here, whenever we come to that spot, if you would, stop, slow. Get used to doing that. Now go back to voicing. Now as you're doing that, go back to voicing. What are you feeling? Look at that memory. For those who might not have been focusing as wonderfully as you could, a show of hands for how many here maybe where the emotion is reduced, where it's no longer. The young lady who wanted to hold on to it. How many, 0 to 10, look at that memory. How many here where it got worse? Show of hands. How many here where it stayed the same? My challenge to you, your mind was jumping. You're letting your mind go, yeah, but he always did it, or yeah, he's going to do it again when I get home. You know? So then the rest of you, unless there's a fourth thing, the rest of you, how many where it went down, where the numbers are reduced? So the ones who haven't, you see all the hands going up. If you follow the procedure, it works. There's no magic. I'm not a magician. I'm not a healer. It just works beautifully. When you focus, tap gently on some of the acupuncture spots and get in touch with what are you really feeling. Okay, I'm going to digress here. We'll go right back to that memory in a minute. One of the one of the things I have available, well, let me do a little commercial real quick. They're all available purely on a donation basis. And like the DVDs have a sign on the back, $49.95. The CDs, there's a CD there with the manual, which the people coming to Saturday, they get that CD. But the manual in PDF form and Word. There's a copy of a CD from Abraham Hicks. I have not gotten their full permission. I met them. But I wrote them and told them I am copying some of your stuff to give away, and I'm going to recoup costs. You know, I know they can't give you permission; they lose their copyright. You know, but they haven't said anything. Well, don't do it. So it's purely donation, though. As I said on our website, you can download the video or the audio and for $1 or $2 or 50 cents or whatever. And the same thing here. There's a little basket, so donation. Another one, though. There's a little book, Toni Winninger. Matter of fact, you might want to invite her sometime, Paula. Toni Winninger, she lives up in Lake Bluff. She was a state's attorney, a prosecuting attorney, and near the end of her career, but just as she was starting to retire, she started hearing voices. And she's now a clear channel, and she's got books on Amazon where Dr. Peter Jenkins asked the question and she listened for the answers. One book that I give out in all of the larger classes for sure, it's healing with the masters, asking them about the different healing modalities. What about this? What about that? Hypnotherapy, etc. And what I like to do is, I just copied it, page 39 and 38 and 39. There's one small section about EFT. I wonder why I promote the book. But here's for what we're doing. Listen to some of these concepts. It says, so what about emotional freedom techniques or thought field therapies? It's a forerunner. We have a multi-layered answer. This is a master's, suppose if you don't believe in it, just absorb it, food for thought, all right? When it's used as a coping technique or a diversion, you can tap and get rid of a headache. But if you haven't gotten rid of the reason, you're going to have a headache tomorrow. All right? So when used as a coping technique or a diversion, EFT or TFT is like allopathic medicine, just hiding what is going on. Now this is what the spirits are saying about our medical stuff. Sorry if I'm stepping on toes. But it's just like allopathic medicine, just hiding what is going on. But when it is deeply and emotionally felt by a person, I am feeling hurt. I'm feeling hurt. No, I'm feeling angry. Feeling deeply felt by a person, so that they get to the root cause of the reason why they are bringing disease within their body. Then it is curative. They're making, with that statement, they're telling us when our bodies are aching, there's a root cause. It's an emotional cause. We're going to get into that. Then it's curative, but it is up to the client who must really get into the causes to affect any change. And then they refer to me, the therapy is also only as good as the feelings and expansiveness as the person directing it. Do they have the intuitive ability to direct the procedure in such a way that the client really must go inside and make contact with those feelings causing their problems? The pattern that I developed, I call it EFT with a guarantee. I teach EFT practitioners how to guarantee success. The pattern, you follow that pattern, that's what you guys are doing. You're halfway through only, less than halfway through. It works. I don't have to be intuitive. As long as I follow that pattern guiding you and you. So let me continue. Do they have the intuitive ability, etc., in such a way that the client really must go inside and make contact with those feelings causing these problems? Or are they only giving the client a coping skill, something to think about, instead of facing and resolving whatever caused the problem in the first place? So once again, finishing that commercial, including these, everything on the table, just donation basis, especially single mom or something, exchange of energy, put some change in or whatever. But other than that, it's just pure donation. So the point though, they're saying we're causing our physical problems and emotional stuff, bipolars, etc., by us holding on to certain things. Now that's a strong statement. I don't want to get into debating, etc., at this point, because when I hear things like that, then the first thing out of my mind is, yeah, but what about a baby that's born with an illness, etc.? I've got my what ifs and yeah buts, but in principle, follow it. It works, and we're going to cover more of that in a minute. So what you did was found an emotional situation to look at and reduce. You rated it, and then you started tapping. Remember, you tapping here, you said, even though I have this painful memory related to it, and I totally and deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. Then you tapped at the top of the head, remember, start of the eyebrows, outside edge of the eye, under the nose. And this is then the next step we went here. Once again, follow along, tapping there, start repeating, I am feeling. Get in touch with what was it you really, really were feeling underneath discomfort. There's something stronger. Find it. So tapping here again now, remember? Keep voicing, I am feeling, I am feeling. Find the feelings that you were too angry to find at that point and couldn't express at that point. You want to get rid of it, but you can't get rid of it until you find it, identify it. Then below the collarbone, remember this one now? Go, slow. Practice this so nobody will know you're doing a process, and it works just as good. Okay, next one's on the rib cage. Just go below the ribs and one up. Just come up one rib, anywhere in there, you got it. Under your arm, about 4 inches down from the armpit, and then open wrist. In Chinese acupuncture, there's 3 major trigger points on the wrist, on the open wrist. So use the flat of your hand, fingers, and okay. So now back up, look at that memory, the whole thing again. See if there's some part of it that still tightens you up. And if so, bring your hand up here. Just stay with that. Find the still shot. You hit the pause button on that video. It's a movie in your mind. So I'm going to move us all along now on the next step. After just a couple sessions, practice sessions with people, when I first read that manual, I noticed that people felt guilty. And since then, and I'm not exaggerating, every session, a lady 61, remembering when she was raped at age 7 with a huge uncle, 6'5", or whatever uncle, and she found her sense of guilt. I should have beat him up. She remembers thinking when it started, I should have beat him up, and that was nagging at her subconsciously, subliminally, for years. You all have it. I joke around, I was raised Catholic. I joke around, we're all raised, like we're raised Catholic, have Catholic guilt, or we have a Jewish mama putting the guilt trip on us. We got to be better, got to do it better. But bottom line, usually, 95% of the time, when in that memory that got bad, just as it started getting uncomfortable, if you go back, look at the memory before the real, at that point, you had a woulda, coulda, shoulda. I shouldn't have been there, shouldn't have looked, should have been stronger, shouldn't have voiced, shouldn't have said it. I hear things like, I should never have been born, should never have picked him for a dad, should never, you know. So find your woulda, coulda, shoulda. If it's not easy to find, usually it means some part of the memory still has a bite. How many found a woulda, coulda, shoulda right away? Yeah, about half of you. Okay, so the rest of you, tap at the top of the head. Even though I have this painful memory about, in your mind, about, and now start looking at that person and saying, I'm feeling, what are you feeling? Get rid of the bite. Focus. Start of the eyebrows. I'm feeling. Outside is your eye. I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling unloved. I'm feeling used. I'm feeling whatever it is. And now, for the guilt, I wish I had time to take each one of you and help you find the woulda, coulda, shoulda, all right? Because it's in there. It's in there. And I'm not saying this facetiously. Every client, every session, if they don't find the guilt, I take them back to the memory. Of course, in a private session, they'll start telling me stuff. I'll have them stop, sentence by sentence, find the part that's still got a bite. In Chinese acupuncture, there's a couple different places it's written up, and some of them they say responsibility is under the eye and under the nose. Others they say under the nose here and in the chin area are responsibility. Responsibilities, fault, blame, shame. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, all of you, tap under the eye, half a dozen taps, go underneath the nose, go to your chin. Just keep repeating, shame on me. And then if you found it, I could have, I shouldn't have. I think your hands went up. I shouldn't have looked at him, shouldn't have walked there, should have known better, should have never taken that job. Find your woulda, coulda, shoulda, and just shame on me, all my fault, shame on me, I knew better, I set myself up. Welcome. So, I wish I could work with all of you individually, but to move things along, how many, though, a show of hands, found some guilt and now that was just what you felt then? Yeah, nice. Yeah, only about half of you. I'm disappointed. I want you all to feel fantastic. Okay, the next step is a test. And if it's hard to do this, your mind will tell you what part of the memory still got a bite that's holding you back. What I want you to do is go back in that memory, in that room, look at the person or people and say, I forgive you for this. Not for anything before or after, not for any other events, just that particular event. If you've tapped it down, you'll be able to forgive. If it's a little hard, I can forgive, but I can't forget. I'll never forget, I'll never let them do it again, stuff. If that kind of thought comes up, you still has a bite. So look at that person, see if you can comfortably forgive. And if not, your mind will tell you. Or another way of doing it, pretend you're looking at them, him, whatever, and say, I would love to totally forgive you, but it still hurts a little bit when I remember what part. So, show of hands, how many could forgive? Nice, nice. Same. And I wish it was all of you, but nice. It's a good start. Okay, now, then the last step in the 7 steps that we developed for guaranteeing success, and if you can't do this comfortably, is all is assigned some part of the memory's got to bite, what part, and tap, whatever. What I want you to do is the concept that when that event happened, it was an event. He said, you said, she said, it unfolded. Since then, there's a little movie in your mind that you've seen a number of times, and parts of it. It pops up sometime while you're driving in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden you wonder why I thought about that one again, Or you find yourself... Now, so go back in that same place, in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the car, wherever that event took place, have the same people or person there, and change the story. Have them just being there. If it was in the kitchen, have them just walking around. Got it? For this, sometimes it's better to close your eyes and get this picture. Take away all the circumstances that did happen. You just have them walking around. Bring in 2 other individuals, about the same age, size, gender, etc. Have them all just walking around, talking, handing papers to each other or something. Just see a little movie. You're making up a little movie. This is a movie in your mind. Okay, have the 2 strangers all of a sudden turn and look at you with a smile. It's a warm, genuine smile. If it's hard to see the smile, all it is a sign your mind was jumping, you didn't stay specific, and it's still got a bite on some part of that memory. But if you got it down, you'll be able to see them smiling at you. It's just, all you do is make it up a movie, 2 people smiling at you. And then the person in the movie turns and looks at you with a smile, tells the others, yeah, well, that's so-and-so, I know them. So you got 3 people smiling at you, which includes the person in the memory. So now, tell the 2 strangers, thank you for the smiles. Tell them how wonderful it feels. Voice that positive. And now tell them, but I'm in charge of this little movie in my mind, and you guys have to leave. And at the door, they don't want to. They just met you. They're laughing. Come on, we just met you. Our kids are out here. My wife's out here. I want to introduce you. And they know, I'm in charge of this movie in my mind, and you have to leave. And then tell me when they're gone. Raise a hand. Okay, mostly. Now, the person in the memory that was painful, have that person smiling at you, and once again, thank you for the smiles. Tell them how wonderful it feels. But also tell them, I'm in charge of this movie in my mind, and you cannot live in my mind anymore. And you have to leave, and send them off with love. At the doorway, he also, or whoever wants to stay, and I'm in charge of this movie in my mind, and you can't live in my mind anymore. And with love, send them off with love. If you can't send them off with love, from that, you're making up a little movie in your mind. All it is a sign some part of the memory's got a bite, got a sting. Okay, then come back to the room. 0 to 10. How strong is that memory right now? Some volunteers. What was it when you started, and what is it now?
Okay, 10 being it was
Worse.
The worst.
Yeah.
Okay, I can make 3.
The what?
Maybe down to 3.
Down to 3. It wasn't. There was a.
I was close to 10.
It was up there. It was, but she said it was a 10 with a smile. Down to about a 3. Okay. And I apologize. I didn't know enough. I didn't do it right to get you to focus. If I had gotten you to focus totally, I digressed a little bit and stuff, it would be gone. Yeah. Who else? 0 to 10. What was it? What is it?
7 to 2.
7 to 2. Well, even so, take a look at, a 9 or 10 down to a 3 is a 70% drop in motion and stuff in 20 minutes, and with instruction time and everything else, and 7 to 2. Yeah, fantastic drop. Anyone else?
Well, if I think about it, it went down, but it doesn't mean that it can't come back. That's what, that's my fear is. Right?
Yeah, good.
I
Say it
said,
again.
if I think about the memory right now, it seems to have gone down, but in my mind still I'm saying, oh, well, what if this happens again?
Yeah. Right.
So I don't think I got rid of it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem to be as strong right this minute.
But the what if this happens again is real. If you're in a situation where you might see that person again, everything else, the law of attraction, you've been building up, attracting that to happen again. And maybe with releasing this, it won't, but maybe it's going to happen again, but you won't have that same emotion. You won't react the same way. Yeah. And you bring up a good point. Thank you for the question, though. What I have found also, and in the manual they state it, when it's gone, it's gone. When you get it down to 3, it won't go to 4 or 5 on that particular memory, or 2 won't go to a 3. Anybody get down to a 0? Yeah. And so whatever you got down to a 0, it won't come back. It's gone. So what you have done for yourselves, all right, a partial reduction. It's that's the highest it's going to go now at all. Yes.
Yeah, just as more so than the numbers, when I first started focusing on it, I was like almost crying. And then now it's much less, it's more like I feel even about it. I don't feel like,
Yeah. Tell you what, why don't you use the mic? Would you mind repeating it?
When we first started thinking about it, I was actually like almost crying. I could feel like tears starting to come. But now it's like I can think about it, and it's not quite. And I feel more even. I don't feel like, oh, I'm going to just start crying. Right? It's much better.
Good.
So
Thank you.
That's it.
And I feel good for you that you don't feel like crying thinking about it. That's great. You've taken away a lot of the bite. We've been going just about an hour. Would you mind just wiggling in place for a minute so we can continue? Just, yeah. I try to keep a record of how many people I present to. There's 2 boards, flipboards. If you don't want to be on our mailing list, just at least put your first name, just a name. And if you don't mind being on our email list, we don't get it out every month. We try, but we don't. But then include everything else. Who else needs a clipboard? Yeah. And share, yeah. How many here are familiar with Dr. Emoto's work? Messages from Water. Okay. So if I spend time with that, then that's like preaching to the choir. By the way, the term preaching to the choir. Back in the 80s, I attended a small church on the west side of the city, a black minister, black neighborhood, for about 2-3 months. And there's one Sunday, it was a snowy day like some of these we just had, and they had a big choir and well-dressed, and it was a great choir. Well, that particular Sunday, I think I was one of about 5 people other than the choir. And the minister, she was good. She was a black lady, but she was good as a minister in metaphysical thoughts, not preaching a fear of God, etc. Anyway, she started out at the podium, whatever, facing us, and within 3 to 5 minutes, she's got 30 people behind her in the choir, and there's 3 or 4 of us. You know, she's facing them, and it went through my mind, preaching to the choir. I saw what that term meant. But anyway, Dr. Emoto's work. I'll pass these around real quickly. I put 4 containers of rice. The larger pictures are cooked rice, 1/3 rice, 2/3 water, and 1/3 air. And the other pictures were raw rice. Put them on some labels on it, and just glance at it and pass back. And put them on a windowsill for 12 days. The tomatoes on the bottom, I bought a batch of vine ripened, and I took 2 of them and put them on one of my printers up in the corner, and I have to reach up on top, and I kept putting off taking a picture. These pictures of the rice I took after 12 days, these tomatoes are 5.5 weeks after I vine ripened, after I brought them home from the store. This is a blow up of that. You can start it. And yeah, let me pass it back here a little bit also. Yeah. The point on this, while you're looking at those, there's energy flowing that we aren't aware of. There's, you know, just like the idea of turning on the radio and there's a couple hundred stations, you turn the dial, but those are energetic vibes going through, you know, energy going through the air right now. And in this room, there's hundreds of streams of energy. Turn on the TV, turn on, you know, the radio and switch it to FM, to AM. But all that energy is flowing in ways that we're not really aware of. And that's why things like the rice pictures. You know what? Let me have 2. Who's experienced applied kinesiology? Anybody? You have? Okay. Have you ever applied muscle testing? Yeah. How about 2 volunteers who have not experienced muscle testing? Come on. 1 guy, 1 woman, please. Yeah, thank you. Come on. I need a lady. Okay, come on up. Here, if you would, face the audience. In muscle testing, it's applied kinesiology. Kinesiology is a study of the movement of the muscles, how your body reacts. Applied kinesiology is putting that movement to use. Now, the chiropractors use it, some of the alternative health people, and then testing for, as an example, which vitamins are good for you, and then which brand of vitamins is best for you, etc. So if you just this arm, if you hold this arm right here, and then this muscle becomes a testing muscle. It's a bicep. If I push down, you hold, okay, and it just locks right in place. Mm-hmm. Now hold an arm out here, and then this muscle becomes the testing muscle, okay. And now look at the blue. If you guys would look at the blue curtain, and then look at the white wall, so you don't have to look. All right, I'm going to have them look at the blue curtain and the white wall. Now you look forward. So look at the blue curtain, okay? And then I'm going to come up and then test your muscle. Now look at the white wall. Okay, please hold.
That was weird.
Go back to the blue curtain. Please hold. And strong again. They didn't see what I did. Right? When you guys came in, I waved you up. When we started, I waved you up. It's called psychological reversal. You pick up other people's stuff. You can help people. You can hurt people. Your thoughts. can send somebody weak, called psychological reversal, and that's when you self-sabotage. In EFT, that's the reason when we started, you said, even though I have this painful memory, you're focusing, I totally and deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. It's something positive. It balances you. It gets rid of what's called psychological reversal. For you guys, wave them up. Remember, you saw what I did behind them. So just wave them up. For anybody who has people coming in your office, come on in. Especially a customer, a client, come on in. You want them balanced, okay? So they just waved. What I did behind you was just wave down. Watch, they waved you up. Please hold an arm. Now wave them down. Okay, please hold. Watch.
Even when you know it's coming, you can't change it.
Yeah. Look them up. Look at their feet or their belt and look up to their eyes. Okay, please hold again. And firm, lock in place. Look down. Look at their eyes, look down to their waist. Please hold. Yeah, and I wasn't pressing near as hard.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was actually pressing much lighter on the negative. Yeah. Okay. So all you guys, well, like right now, would you hold an arm up?
I don't want to. No, thank you.
No, okay. But please hold. Please hold. Now wait. You wave them down. Now wave them up. Wave them up. Okay? Now hold. Now feel that power? I mean, that locks in place. If I walked around and tested all of you, the last thing you did was wave them down. You did a negative to them, you would be weak. Now, EFT, Reiki, prayer, all of that works better when you're balanced, when you don't have what's called psychological reversal. In the class on Saturday, we teach ways to get rid of it real quick and everything. But good. Tell them thanks. And, yeah. But think about this. There's energy flowing in ways that we don't understand. If I pass out little envelopes, which I will do in the other class on Saturday, and you read the negative thing to somebody, even though you might be laughing, you're affected and they're affected. So for yourselves, when you walk in and into an argument of some sort, your thought, your anger thought, just made you unbalanced. It's called psychological reversal. And then you'll self-sabotage. You'll say the wrong thing. You wonder why you said that. Other people will also then, matching you, are going to be saying something and wondering why they said it that way. But they got you. Okay. I want this to be as powerful as I can. How many are going to be there Saturday? Anybody here? Okay. Well, okay, so 4 of you at least will get more of this. One of my specialties is physical. One of your handouts, thought I had it right here. One of your handouts is of 1 page, single page. Yes, you don't have to look at it now, but here's some testimonials. Lower back problems, digestive issues. Now, people have tapped about their back and the back felt better. But if you look at the emotional thing that brought it to you, it's gone. This one, I had 2 sessions with this lady a week ago. This last week, I stopped most of my sessions. I experienced people 4 deaths. I'm a hospice volunteer for about 16 years, Hines VA, and also St. Thomas Hospice. And I had a client Tuesday night, Wednesday morning at 3 in the morning. It was 2 to 6 was my shift with him, and he passed. I helped him by some of this stuff that we're doing right here. And then Thursday morning, Linda and I, we've been together 9 years. Her mom was 96, and she's been in hospice for a while, and she took turn for the worse and then back, et cetera. But we had 4 days of vigil, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with her, and then she passed Thursday morning. Sunday, my former brother-in-law, I'm divorced in 1982, to a wonderful Irish girl. Her brother Kevin has been a friend of mine. He's bipolar on meds, et cetera, for years. In his 50s, he passed, and they don't know why. It was Sunday. And then his kids, his 16, 18, 21, 3 boys, I'm still their favorite uncle. Kevin and my ex, they were 2 of 13 kids, and so they got a lot of uncles and stuff, right? They've asked me to be the pallbearer, one of the pallbearers on Monday. The kids just wanted me. But anyway, their grandfather died Sunday afternoon. He was in hospice, but so it was four deaths, boom, boom, boom. But in that process, I wasn't doing clients and everything. This particular email came last Friday. I had 2 sessions with her on the phone. Hi, Tom. I want to thank you for your help, patience, and understanding. Now, this is ego stuff, but here's the point. You helped me clear a huge block from my life in a very short period of time. I've had chronic lower back, right hip pain, as well as a case of endometriosis. I can trace all the symptoms back to about 12 years ago when I got divorced. That's why I guided her to, and ended up with a pile of debt. Even now, typing these words, I'm really just blasé about it. And that was not the case when I spoke with you. I can safely say with a great deal of amusement now that I was consumed by the anger, unfairness, guilt, and shame I felt about the situation I experienced. Your patience, guidance, and laser-like focus, it's the 7 steps. It's not me. Laser-like focus helped me clear it all up and also find forgiveness for everyone involved, most importantly me. You have such knowledge of the causes of pain and the confidence that it can be cleared in a short amount of time. You're a miracle worker and so grateful, et cetera, et cetera. What I want to get into now, the mind-body connection. I remember in the discussion groups and the prayer groups, people would come and have a particular issue, physical, and months later that same person would have a particular emotional thing. Years later, different situation, as an example, St. James the Apostle prayer group, 21-year-old carpenter. He and his dad couldn't get along. Dad's from the old country. They argued every night. Once a week, they even got almost into a fist fight at the dinner table, and they have actually fought in the evening. They can't last an hour together. It did not surprise me, months apart. Once he was coming for prayers, he's going to wear the colostomy bag. He had the operation, part of the colon's coming out. He's going into the bathroom in a bag in the stomach wall the rest of his life. It's very common. There's good chances a couple of you people here possibly even have the colostomy bag. It's just not spoken of. You don't talk about that stuff. But it was no surprise. Months later also, he was coming for prayers. He and his dad are going to bond. He's going to go fishing with his dad. He's going to be in a rowboat with him for 3 days. I mean, they can't make it for an hour, all right? But it is comical in a way, but the pattern. And we have a DVD, Get Rid of Digestive Issues. Anything from acid reflux all the way down to hemorrhoids. Hers was something else. Let me stay with that. Any digestive issue, father figure, authority figure. I got story after story, and I fully expect the physical symptoms to disappear when you work for 1 or 2 times, get rid of the negative emotion. It doesn't have to be dad. One lady in her late 70s, age 7, this is my office out of Homewood, Inside Awareness. She came to me, I hear you give a guarantee. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, I got a class starting, but 15 minutes, but yeah, what is it? Acid reflux all of her life. And she was 7 years old, carried Tums and Rolex now. I don't know what she carried then, but the memory was a female teacher caught her with a cheat sheet in the folds of her dress on a spelling test. And did she say anything to you? No. Did she tell the principal and tell you folks? No, nothing. The whole memory was just that. this acid reflux all of her life, 5 to 6 out of 10, you know, pain, even with the Rolaids, etc. It went down to a 1 or 2. And she says to me, you said you guarantee success, and I still feel a little bit. And you know, you get a little old lady, yeah, okay, I wasn't doing it for a fee. You just asked, we spent 15 minutes, you know, but I got a class. 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the class, there's a knock on the door, but nobody's coming in. It's a smaller room, a much smaller room. And so I go to, at the third knock, I go to open the door, and she's got her foot there, so nobody can see her. The door can only open so far. She said 3 things. She says, I went to the bathroom. You're an angel. I'm going to send you a check. But it was no surprise. Authority figure, every time. Lower back, worried about a payment. You got a lower back for 7 years, right after the workshop in Delaware. 2.5 years ago, he was rear-ended at a stoplight, and lower back ever since. And it was right in the middle, so that's just a general payment. To the right, it'd be related to a male, left related to a female. His was right in the middle. And I was saying, look at whatever bill you were worried about before you were rear-ended. And no, nothing. It was about 35 people in a home, a big house. And we did a Washington, D.C. workshop, and then we were invited to this other place. So anyway, his wife happened to be in the crowd. Let's call him Bubba, wherever she is. Bubba! There was a new car, we just moved into the new house, and the baby is born. And you're telling this gentleman you weren't worried about money? He tapped a little bit. Now, we had to move on, you know, but he tapped a little. The pain went down to like a 1 or a 2. It was a 5 or a 6 for 2.5 years. Doctors couldn't help. You know, help a little bit, and it goes away. Now, for some of you, you're going to, this is silly, whatever, and you usually are the ones that have something that I can help you get rid of. And I'll do it for free if you're hurting for money. So keep that in mind. Come to the class. The people coming to the class, you know, right, we'll work on stuff like that. Right hip, right knee. He had anxiety about a relationship. We had an open house at Solder World, where I also office, in Willowbrook, massage school. I had something like 46, 48 people, 5-minute sessions, boom, one after another. Lady comes in, sits down in her late 30s. Right knee, 5 or 6 years, 7 years ago, a bicycle accident. Hit by a car, was on the bike. So, and I wrote this one up in the Meta Monthly. That monthly is about three months ago, because this was in September. And I said, all right, well, what do you know about EFT? I said, nothing. My girlfriend was here, and she said, I got to sit down with you. I said, all right, well, let's stay with your right knee. Look, before you were hit with the car, your anxiety in or out of a relationship with a male. And she stands up. You are freaking me out. You are freaking. She's backing up. She's loud. Now there's people all around, you know. What was it? She was living with her soon-to-be ex. She's in the process of divorce, a 1-bedroom apartment, not sure of her job, and not sure in where she's moving. The pain went down to a 1 or a 2. 7 years of pain. She's saying they're talking about maybe a transplant and all that, you know. And it went down. She gets up, and I hear so often, this is weird. This is weird. What else? Right shoulder, feeling burdened with a male. Left shoulder, female. Mind being my model? Come on up a minute. Come on? Yeah, come on. Yeah. Here, put your back to them. Here's what I'm finding. Now, and I'm the one guaranteeing success. So I'm setting the bar high, even for today here in the next half hour, for some of you to get rid of some physical problems. Pain up here, just feeling the burden. Can't get it all done. If it goes to the left side and up the side is related to a female. Now, if the pain also is under that wing bone, that's anger. Or if it's just under the wing bone, anger. If you anybody right now, pain under the wing bone, left or right? Yep. What side?
My right.
Yeah. Find the guy before the pain. Before the pain started. Before the pain started, and it could be a store clerk, and but that guy is still in your mind. Is still that event. Who else? The wing bone. Wing bone.
Yeah, right side.
Fine. Okay, turn around just for a minute. A lady.
My daughter's watching it
Oh,
a few
okay.
minutes ago.
All right. Good. We had 4 Monday nights, a 12-hour class at South Suburban College. 2 years later, a lady calls. She says, I remember you healed a guy's back. I didn't heal the guy's back, but he came up and he had a pain behind the right wing bone. How appropriate. Okay, and I told him, okay, well, you know what I did though? I had him facing the crowd. Let's do the same thing, face the crowd.
Okay.
You picture the guy that you were upset with before that pain started. Find the male person. You don't have to say anything out loud. You know who it is?
I don't get angry that easy.
It doesn't matter if you don't get angry that easy. There was, you had some issue. You had an issue. You felt anger about something he said or did. You remember it? Yeah. Okay. So you stay with that. Picture him, and start telling him how you're feeling. I'm feeling angry in your mind, just in your mind, and let him know I'm feeling hurt. Really feeling hurt. I'm feeling angry. Disappointed. I'm feeling unloved. Just tell him. Let's see, what do we do? 20 seconds? 10 seconds? Wheel your back. Yeah? Is it better? Is it worse? Yeah.
No, feel it.
Don't feel it. I asked for guidance before I started class. It's no accident that he came up for you guys to see it. The possibility. Endometriosis, we were guest speakers at I'm going to use your back in a minute for some more. We were guest speakers at a endometriosis support group in a southern suburb. They all get once a month a potluck. They come, enjoy a speaker for 10, 20 minutes, half hour, and then they enjoy the meals. Well, I've only got a half hour. So I'm sitting in like a booth, but it's a booth with one side in the kitchen table and nothing there. They're all around me in the kitchen, okay? Linda's with me. So I said, well, I've got to be direct because I want you guys to experience something. Endometriosis, you had rage. You had total rage one time or a number of times. A lady next to me, an Irish lady in her 40s, turned and put her back to me, and she never turned back for a half hour. And I'm not exaggerating. Another lady in her 30s, now they came for the potluck, right? She's off on this side. She gets up, gets her purse, she leans over to the kitchen table, and excuse the words, but she says, doesn't everybody have anger? She's glaring at me. She says, this is goddamn stupid, I'm leaving. And she storms out. Left her food, everything. And I'm sure that was to help these other women see maybe there's a connection. Yeah. You'll see her back again. Okay, so if there's anger, if there's a pain here, it's anger at a female, right side, anger at a male. The lower back, right in the middle, is just worried about a payment. Before the pain started, and it could have just been something you forgot to send a check to the insurance company, and you're wondering, oh man, I should have. I hope it doesn't ruin my record. $10. It doesn't matter. It was something on your mind. If it's to the right side, it's related to a male. Left side related to a female. The one lady had on the left side on the female for 7 years in a library presentation, real quick, and but she remember it started when her son was born. Right side, to a male, right? But it was the left side. I said, well, something with the female. And it dawned on her, every month, they didn't have insurance. And every month, a gentle, polite lady from the hospital called, looking for a couple $100, partial payment. Can you send some money? Can you send, every month for years. And that was that lower back. The lady who called 2 years after the South Suburban College, her son Tom had a football accident. When he comes in, it's in the middle of the back, a little bit to the left. I want to be quick because I want you to start tapping. So I said to them, and it was 13 months at a warm-up before a game. Who was the female, a little bit to the left, who was the female that betrayed you? Where do you get stabbed in the back? They both knew. The Saturday night before the game, right, they found out his girlfriend was cheating on him. Good, hey, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, give him a hand. Some of those testimonials on my website and in the handouts are from that lady. She said in her email, months later, the pain was gone before we left your office. She actually sent a couple of emails, another one that's on our website, right shortly after, it was about a month after. She said, we're waiting for, his name was Tom also, waiting for Tom to come back. He's surfing the Atlantic Ocean in Charleston, South Carolina. And in that email also, she said, the pain was gone before we left your office. They had to be careful driving there, hit a bump and excruciating pain. 13 months, they fused together, they want to operate to, etc. So, lower, no, right shoulder, right behind your wing bone.
And all the way up.
All the way up. You're feeling the burden, anger and feeling the burden. You know who it is? You're going to tap in a little bit. Who else? Let's get rid of some pains. TMJ, anything here I'm finding, that I didn't have from the prayer groups and discussion groups. But what I'm finding, tongue cancer, throat cancer, TMJ, constant sore throat, you could not voice your power. You might have yelled and screamed in anger, but you didn't voice your real power. Here's who I am. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm feeling. So find what you knew right away. Yeah, she knew right away. Well,
Just like both sides.
Yeah, both sides? Yeah, that's just feeling the pressure. Can't get it all done. So look, sometimes it's over with, years ago. And you still, when you think back, and the thought comes up, the pressure you felt. So for you, it was just a burden, just feeling a general burden before the pain started. It was anxiety about getting it all done. Who else? Yes?
What about numbness?
I don't know. I'm numb to that question. I wish I knew. Who else? Right hip. Are you guys together? Go back before the pain started, your anxiety at that time, at that point, in or out of relationship with the boss, with him, with your son. One lady, it started when she years earlier, when her daughter hit 18, she was going to do tough love, get off the drugs, get a job, or you're out, go to school, or you're out. And she had to let her child off on the street, so to speak. And that's when the left hip started and knee for her both. So for you, find the situation, and it could be years ago. You know, you guys seem wonderful together now. But then we start tapping. Remember that. Just remember, start voicing what you felt then. Yeah.
Left big toe joint.
Okay, left big toe. Here's what I'm finding. The foot, the toe, usually the toe is you're not sure of your next step, but it's, more so you're not sure if you're standing in a relationship with a female, a boss, a friend, a neighbor, a mother, daughter, somebody before the pain started. Right side male. Yeah.
Quick question, what if it's several things you can think of?
Yeah, focus on one. Yeah. In this crowd, I could say it's your higher self, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Christ within you, whatever you want to call it. You're being led. So if you have intention of being healed, you're being led. Your guardian angels, if you're raised Catholic. I don't mean to put that down, I'm saying, but that's where you can look for feeling led. But you are being led, understand that. Yes?
What about the side, like you said, the hip or the knee? Just like
Is it start in the back and go down, or the side? The hip.
yeah, and
That's anxiety in or out of relationship with a male.
but I mean, it's not the hip, it's just the side.
Oh, just the side? I don't know that. But now keep in mind, those are the organs. Liver problems is anger. So it could be something like that. Adrenals is fear, which on top of the kidneys, I guess, or yeah. Yes, sir.
Right knee.
Right knee, same thing. So go back before the pain started, your anxiety about the relationship. And it could be a fleeting thing, but you felt it then, and when you think about it, you can remember how it felt. You weren't sure, yeah. Well, endometriosis, anybody? Rage. Find it. Pick one of those things to work on. Yeah, could be related though. Maybe I'm being led to mention that now, so you could look at one memory and get rid of both. Who else? Come on. Feet, hips, knees. What a healthy crowd.
What about migraines?
Migraines is just. I want to be careful. The few people I've helped with migraines, similar to brain cancer, brain stuff, headaches, minor headaches, little angers, not rage. Endometriosis was rage. Yeah, this was what I'm finding, just a pattern I'm finding. It's not 100%. I don't have that many. Only a couple people have come to me out of 5,000 individual sessions. Only a couple people with migraines. Yeah. But little angers, little, people aren't getting it right. I can't live up to your standards, Oh. Bingo. So find one though that comes to mind. Yeah. I was laughing with you, by the way. Yes. Come on, physical. What's going on? Couple of digestive issues. They're so common, no? Yeah. So, okay. And yours was right side. Now, it's possible you felt the same emotion with dad and father figure, and you brought a lover to you, or brought a first boyfriend or a husband or something and he's given you the same stuff until you can forgive. Here's the concept I'm finding. I want to start tapping. Here's the concept. First off, I happen to believe in reincarnation, and most of the people are theosophical. If you're really strong in a religion and follower of Jesus, he believed in it. Take a look in the scriptures, and he healed a blind man, born blind, at the well, healing well. And in one scripture is before and one scripture is after. His merry men asked him, why was he born blind? Was it something his parents did, or something he did? And Jesus didn't turn to him and say, how could it be something he did, you dumb, come on. He was born blind. No, Jesus' words were, in this case, it was for the greater honor and glory of the Son of Man. In other words, they planned that. The guy wants a life of humbleness. He chose to be born blind for a life of humbleness. But by the way, let's meet at the well, and I'll take care of you. Other places, he told his apostles, some of his apostles, some of you will be alive to see me when I return at the end of the age. He used the Aramaic word that it could have been a generation or astronomical, 2,000 years. 2,000 years. That's today. Anyway, they expected him to come back. When Paul was converted, he was told what Jesus had said. Jesus is already gone, crucified before Paul. And he's running around and he's telling people he's coming. He's coming. He expected that was going to be the generation. Anyway, the point I'm making is there's a possibility that reincarnation is real. If it is real, then there's karma. And karma is not punishment, it's balance. It's just balance. And you're living under the law of karma, finding the balance, or the law of grace, which is forgiveness. Now, when people say and do things that you feel wonderful, you're seeing a reflection of yourself, the casing material. Many times, hundreds of times in those 14,000 readings, he told people, for what you're experiencing, understand that self meeting self. He used the expression so often, self meeting self. So somebody helps you feel good, you're seeing a reflection. Once or hundreds of times, you help people feel good that way. Somebody does something that's yuck, here's the balance that way. It's not punishment, but you're seeing a reflection of yourself. You help somebody feel that same hurt, betrayed, whatever it is. Okay? Now, so the people I worked with, it's a pattern. What they've experienced young, they've experienced again and again, and their present friends, same emotions, all right? That's until you could totally forgive. So you pick one of the memories, And then you go through the process that you were just doing. And when you can totally forgive that person, you're forgiving a reflection of yourself. Bingo. You don't have to experience it anymore. So answer your question in the back. People have said, he changed. You know, no, I'm not getting a divorce anymore. He changed. Wonderful. You don't have to experience it anymore once you can forgive yourself in the form of the jerk, you know. So that's why, for me, I love what I do here to help you. And for some of you, really gotten rid of it. And you can do that same now by getting rid of a physical problem. So pick one. If not, just pick another memory that's got a bite. Okay? Go for a big one. It doesn't matter if there's some tears, but go for a big one. Get rid of it. Make sure it's a single particular event. Stay focused on one time. And now, if you would gently tap, rate it 0 to 10, get a feel. But you'll know it feels better, it doesn't. But rate it just for the exercise. Tap gently on the karate chop, very gently, either hand, either side. Even though I have this painful memory, I totally and deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. I'm okay. I have a painful memory when I remember, and put a sentence in there. What is it? What help you focus? But I totally and deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. I'm okay. Top of the head, go right into voicing what you were feeling. Look at that memory. Tell them, I'm feeling, what are you feeling? I'm feeling hurt. By the way, these 7 steps are on the website, on all the handouts on the website, so you can find them. You don't have to write them down. But what are you feeling? Start of the eyebrows, bridge of the nose. I don't like the start of the eyebrows. That's how it's all called, but really it's the bridge of the nose. Keep voicing. Find that. What are you feeling? I'm feeling hurt. You'll find 4 or 5 things and repeat them over and over. Outside edge of your eye. Keep voicing the same thing. I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling unloved. I'm feeling so used. Under your eye. Continue voicing it. Very gentle, remember. Butterfly kiss. Under your nose, use 3 fingers. Under your lower lip. So you're at the lower lip and then the whole chin area. Now this one, remember, you're going to go slow. Go down below. You're below the collarbone. Just for this class, find the collarbone and come down. But then you won't have to find it and come down. Just go right to it later. But just practice doing this one slow, so nobody will know you're doing a process. On the rib cage, keep voicing what you're feeling. Under your arm, a couple taps, and go to the open wrist. Now take a deep breath, go back to the beginning of the uncomfortable part and find your woulda, coulda, shoulda, the feeling you might have had at that time. I knew better, I shouldn't have trusted them, I set myself up. And then continue tapping. Once you find it, continue tapping. Now, remember I said, I mention this at certain spots for certain things, but then I'm finding you don't need it that way. It works anyway, but following that pattern, shame on me, you know, I set myself up under your eye, under your nose, under your lower lip. You know, I knew better. I should have paid it. I shouldn't have looked. I should have walked. I should never have taken that job. Should never have married him. Should never. And even though you didn't mean it, that's what you felt at that time. That's what you want to get in touch with, the feeling of fault, responsibility at that time. It was nagging at you. Okay. See if you can forgive yourself for your role in it. Say the words, I forgive myself, and see if there's something holding you back. If so, go tapping, you know. Yeah. And now see if you can forgive that party, remember? And bring in the two strangers. You can. This is your movie in your mind. You want to get to the point, though, where you can see them smiling at you and take charge without anger, without frustration. You're just saying, I forgive you for your role in that time, even though I know you did it again, you know. But for that one memory, you forgive them, and I'm in charge of this movie in my mind, and you cannot live in my mind anymore. Okay, come back to the room. 0 to 10, what happened? Did it come down at all? Get rid of something? Yeah. And I love to see it. Yeah, good. Yeah, you got something, yeah. Okay, questions, or do we have time?
There's questions or comments here?
Oh, I see, good, yeah. Comments or questions?
Wait for the microphone.
You won't hurt my feelings.
I think I'm a little confused when, say you're smaller and you don't even know what you did wrong, to
Yeah.
say, well, because I existed, then I apologize because I was.
Yeah.
You know, like, what a deal can you assume when you feel so innocent in the whole situation?
When you're young, quite often it's, I shouldn't have been here, or I shouldn't have gotten mad, like it's my fault. Yeah, yeah. When we're kids and somebody gets real upset with us, it's even if we did something, you know, but even just out of the blue, somebody's really in a nasty mood.
Yeah.
And they attack you, and it's a feeling like, shame on me, I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have, maybe I'm in
Cause
there.
them to get upset. So
Yeah. Yeah, we, as little kids, we think we're the cause, we're the reason that somebody got upset with us. Even, you know, sometimes we know it, you know. Yeah. Good.